bed. Got to about midnight last night after a long day, and I realized I had not made a video. It is what it is. Hopefully you did it on your own. Today we're in Ecclesiastes 5 and 6. So open up your Bible, grab a notebook, read Ecclesiastes 5 and 6, write down some observations and some applications, and then I will give you mine. So pause this video, and I'll see you in a second. Okay, welcome back. Okay, so again, Solomon is the most depressing person ever. We get that, and but he's got some wisdom here, man. I mean, he's got some real smart things to say, and of course, you know, he's talking to Jews like 4,000 years ago, and we have the same problems, which makes it so crazy when he says something like, "There's nothing new under the sun," right? Because it's true. The problems we read about here are the same problems people have today. This idea of, you know, chasing, hoarding wealth and never being satisfied. Right off the bat, I thought it was interesting where he talks about guard your steps when you go to the house of God. To draw near to listen is better than to offer sacrifice of fools, for they do not know that they are doing evil. And so, man, that would make me scared if I was in that day. Just the idea of literally doing evil while trying to make a sacrifice to God. That doesn't make much sense to me, but it's there. Or the idea of, you know, when he says, when you vow a vow to God, don't delay in paying it, for he has no pleasure in fools. Pay what you vow. It's better that you don't vow than that you should vow and not pay. And again, it's like the idea of like, if I don't do what I tell God I'm going to do, I'm going to make him mad and he's going to punish me. And it's like, oh man, it's like a different version of God than I have grown up learning about. And it's just crazy. But it goes on to continue where he says in verse 10 of 5, he says, "He who loves money will not be satisfied with money, nor he who loves wealth with his income." And it's like, yeah, it's like, it's one thing to love your job. It's one thing to love the people you work with. It's another thing to love the money. When you love the money, you know, he's saying here, I think he's saying it because he's understood it. He's loved the money, and he's finding that there's no satisfaction in just gaining more and more. He says in chapter 6, "There's an evil that I have seen under the sun, and it lies heavy on mankind. A man to whom God gives wealth, possessions, and honor, so that he lacks nothing of all that he desires. Yet God does not give him the power to enjoy them, but a stranger enjoys them. This is vanity." And it's like, he's saying right there, like a person who, you know, gathers and gathers and gathers and gathers, and hoards and hoards and hoards and hoards, and, you know, works and works and works and works, and then dies, never having enjoyed life or everything that God has made of. I mean, here's the thing. Yes, there's a lot of things in this world that aren't good, but God has given us life for a purpose, and it's not just to, you know, live, worship, and die. It's to enjoy. It's to enjoy life, and it's a great evil for someone to come to this world and work and toil and never to enjoy what God has given us. And then my favorite verse of all this chapters, of these two chapters, is, "Better is the sight of the eyes than the wandering of the appetite." It's better if someone can see than if they just are hungry. And so a lot of application here. But really the biggest application is the focus of my life cannot be just the accumulation of wealth. The focus of my life cannot just be hoarding and working and hoarding and working and hoarding. It should be used as a tool. Money should be used as a tool. And I need to use my eyes to see what needs to be done. Like, why has God given me what I have? And that's why we do things like Speed the Light. That's why we do things like missions trips. That's why we, you know, and this is the point. Like, we could all use our money on ourselves. And what we would find is, no matter what we buy for ourselves, no matter what we, you know, are saving up for and we buy and we get, it's like we're satisfied for a little bit, but then we want something else. We're satisfied for a little while, but then it's not enough. And what I've found is that when I take some of these things and I get rid of them and I sell them and whatever, and I give the money to something that I think is important or whatever, it's interesting. I never miss them. I never miss those things. It's always like life goes on. And yet somewhere in my brain, I was convinced that I need to spend all this time working so that I can get this thing. And when I get it, it's not enough. And I need the next thing, and I need the better thing, and I need the newer thing. And it's just never enough. And if we take a second back and forget our appetite for a second and just use our eyes to see what's going on around us, we start to realize that there are things that are important, that we need to also be enjoying life. We need to be helping other people who are being oppressed, and doing good with the time we have, having a good time with the time we have. So that's all I got for today, and thanks for checking out the video, and we'll see you again tomorrow. Have a good day, everybody.